data governance was required. It was talked about a lot, but there was no sort of consolidation around how you then structure the governance, what the principles by which the governance exists are, and who you have to pull in to become part of a working group to be able to develop the right legal documentation and the right sort of structures which enable that matrix to exist and for governance to be managed effectively. It became really apparent to us that we needed to really sort of look at use cases, because you can come up with the best governance structure in theory as possible, but actually you need use cases. And we started to look at some of the challenges which had been set, and the vast majority of them were fairly open source stuff, so we didn't want to focus on those. Instead, we wanted to focus on some of the use cases that were very much around a more sensitive data. What became fairly apparent was we didn't have the resource internally within our working group, and actually as it stood within Emergent Alliance more broadly, to be able to do the analysis of that use case to really understand what the risks were. And we could easily have pulled something off the internet, or we could have pulled something from Rolls-Royce from their sort of stock. This is the data governance, but that would have been a sticking plaster rather than something that was actually geared to what the Emergent Alliance was doing in a more sensitive space. I think the key component is what we wanted to do was ensure that data providers and also those that are working on the data as volunteers within the Emergent Alliance held no personal risk, either individually or as an organisation. So a lot of that was us identifying where those risk points were, and the risk points were predominantly around the types of data being used, whether it could be anonymised before it landed with us, what IT infrastructure we were going to be used, and also the responsibility of the data handlers and the data users within Emergent Alliance.